the reason we do come back to it all the time at the weekly marriage meeting is like, that is a time that you're setting apart. Like, we're not advocating for you to have that while you're making dinner and the kids are around. We're advocating for you to make that time after the kids are asleep, because you're going to consolidate all of these conversations that you could have distractedly throughout the week and maybe end up in a frustrated spot because you're not able to get a full sentence out. You're going to consolidate all those conversations to this intentional time.
Hey, One Degree fam, I'm Nathaniel.
And I'm Zan, and this is the One Degree Podcast, where we talk about what it looks like to be married as followers of Jesus.
Look, we know that life gets full. Marriage, kids, work, church, sports, the list goes on and on. But we believe that a thriving marriage does not happen by accident.
Each episode will give you real conversations, practical tools, and biblical encouragement to help you connect deeply with your spouse and live on mission together.
So, whether you're folding laundry, driving to work, or maybe even working out, we're glad you're here with us.
Let's dive in.
What is up, One Degree fam?
What is up, fam? Welcome back to the comfy, cozy, virtual couch.
How was your weekend, Nathaniel?
You picked like the most eventful weekend to ask this question.
I know, because we were talking about, do we have a silly story? And it's like, I don't have a silly story. I'll just ask you about your weekend. So how's your weekend?
My weekend was great.
It was a very full weekend.
Very full weekend, because on Friday, as soon as I got done with work, I came home really quick, packed a bag, and met up with a friend down in Chicago, where we drove to Indiana. And we did a Spartan race, a half marathon with 30 obstacles in Indiana. And we actually did it with two of Zan's coworkers and a group of guys from their church.
Are you like choking on something?
I am.
Oh, really?
No, I'm good.
Raspberries from outside?
No, I had the orzo, the lemon chicken orzo. But anyway, so we met. They had 11 guys in the Airbnb, and they were very gracious, and they let us crash on the couch in the Airbnb.
Your plan prior to that was you were going to get a hotel or sleep in your car. You literally were just winging it. I was like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you know what? The Lord provides, and we got an Airbnb, or crashed on their Airbnb. More like I reached out and was like, hey, can we stay at your Airbnb? It wasn't really offered. I was like, hey, can we stay there? And we're like, yeah, of course.
Anyway, this is not the weekend.
And so, yeah, then on Saturday did the Spartan race, and it was amazing and brutal and awful and incredible all at the same time. I would say one of like the most memorable for me obstacles is we had to army crawl uphill in sand under barbed wire for like 30 yards. And that one was just like, there were some that were more challenging or that I didn't complete. But that one to me just sticks out in my head of like, oh my gosh, this is brutal. I'm dripping, I'm wet and have sweat. And now this sand is all sticking to me as I'm trying to army crawl under this barbed wire. And I got a nice long scratch on my back from it.
For context, if you don't complete it, because that kind of to me just sounds like then you didn't really complete a Spartan, but they give you a like conciliatory failure lap, right? What's it called?
Yeah, like you either have to do 30 burpees or a kind of like a failure lap.
Was it called failure lap?
No, it was called
felt like it had a more positive term.
I don't know. I forget what it
was
called.
You said something. But yeah, so I did not do a Spartan this weekend. However, I did stay home with the children and the kids happened to have, of course, it's like soccer picture day, all the things. And and your sister got married. And so they were flower girls and we did the rehearsal.
So that was Sunday. So
yeah,
I
but
did
then
the
there was
Spartan
rehearsal
on
stuff on Saturday.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because then on Saturday after the Spartan, I drove home, got home late, and then officiated my sister's wedding on Sunday.
Yeah.
It was quite the weekend.
It felt like a weekend of quite literally like not taking, well, maybe not literally because this is a metaphor, but not taking our foot off the gas for either of us. I feel like I never let us, because I was like, oh, if we all relax right now, we won't make it to the next event in time.
Isn't there like that really old inappropriate song from when we were in high school, like gas pedal,
wiggle like you're trying to make it. I think that was like middle school for me. Yeah. So we did not abide by our conviction to honor the Sabbath this
Well,
weekend
to
by at
me,
all.
Saturday, like, as weird as this
Nah,
sounds,
Saturday had 0 Sabbath to me. I felt like I did not relax for
to
Saturday.
me, that was, like, such a rejuvenating, you can't say physically restful, but, like, I remember I had a seminary professor that talked about if you work with your hands, you should Sabbath with your mind. If you work with your mind, you should Sabbath with your hands. And so what that means is if
We've
you
talked about that on the
yeah,
podcast
but if
before.
you work with your hands, so a physically demanding job, like your Sabbath should entail rest and like engaging your mind. So reading, studying, like researching, like that kind of stuff. If you work with your mind, and so if you have an office job, you're by a computer a lot, like you should Sabbath with your eh,
Body, do
body. Yeah.
physical things.
Yeah. So do physical things. And so I primarily have a more desk oriented job. So I really enjoy physical activity. So this Spartan race for me, as weird as it sounds, it was like so
I mean,
rejuvenating and
that's
it
not
was
weird.
like an ideal Sabbath for me.
Sleeping 3 hours before it,
Yeah,
it's
we
super
got in super
rejuvenating.
late. We slept on a couch. There was this really bad thunderstorm overnight. I didn't go to sleep till 11. Woke up at 2:30 in the morning and couldn't get back to sleep. So,
Anyway, what are we talking about today? We got a long segue there.
so today we are talking about how to bring fun back into your marriage without planning a vacation, without planning a date night.
Mhm.
Because I think that if you've been married for longer than a year, you've probably gone through seasons where your marriage doesn't feel like a lot of fun. And I'm not saying like your marriage feels bad or in shambles or like you don't even know the person that you're married to or something along like those lines. But what I'm saying is that you will go through seasons where your schedule is full, where you are incredibly busy, where you feel as if you don't get a lot of time together and that the majority of your time feels like, oh, just logistical conversations or things like that.
Yeah, I feel like even it's not even that there's a negative to your marriage, it's more
Yeah,
just there's, like, lacking this positive, this
this fun.
lightheartedness from and it again, it's like it's not necessarily like there's this underlying issue of, like, "Hey, we're really disconnected," and so, like, anything like that. Sometimes it simply is, "Hey, we're in the newborn stage,
Yeah.
and we're tired, and we don't even feel like we have the capacity to just have fun, or we don't
Yeah.
even know what that looks like anymore with our current logistics." And so, yeah, we're just gonna kinda talk about that.
Yeah. And just for like a personal example to make it more personable, I remember when we were dating, I had my absolutely ugly tan 2002 Toyota
Oh,
Camry
tan. It
Solera
was like that
convertible.
champagne gold,
I
that,
don't
like,
know.
old car.
Beautiful with a black, retractable soft top roof.
Mhm.
And when when Zan and I
It's
were
like, "Who's that?"
when Zan and I were dating, I just remember we would always do fun, silly, stupid stuff like evenings, nighttime. We would go out and go stargazing. We would ride
So
around
stupid.
with the top down and no, just like silly,
Yeah,
lighthearted
just
stuff.
spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous things. We would ride around with the top down and we would go and just listen to music really loudly and blast music. We would go cliff jumping. It just felt so easy and natural to have fun when we were dating. But then you get married, you have kids, and it's like, oh, those late nights going stargazing are replaced by late nights with crying children trying to get them to sleep. And then those days when you were riding around with the roof down listening to music really loudly feels like you're driving around trying to calm your kid down by listening to the happy baby song on repeat over
The
and
happy
over,
song.
the happy song or
"Ring, ring,
whatever.
on
Yeah.
bicycle."
And so
Man,
it's just like,
PTSD.
those things that are so easy to do when you're dating or when you're newly married, or even just like you start to take your spouse for granted a little bit. Even if you don't have kids or something like that, you get used to that and you get into a lull and it felt like it was so easy and natural to cultivate fun. And then pretty soon it's like, oh man, I feel like we just haven't had fun together for
Mhm.
a while. And so for us, we're going to talk about that because conventional wisdom and what you'll hear from a lot of people is, oh, you just need to have a kid-free date night, or you need to get out of the house, or, oh, just plan a vacation, just the two of you getting away, and that'll be a blast and that'll be fun. And Zan and I are like, we love the idea of those things, and we love those things. Like, we've done marriage retreats and we've done kid-free date nights, and those are amazing opportunities. But I just remember, for me, like, that advice felt so demoralizing to me when we were in seminary, because like, we did not have the financial resources to hire a babysitter and to go out for a date night. Like, even if we didn't have kids, it would have been really hard to spring a date night because of the financial situation that we were in. And then we didn't even have like family around to really be able to watch the kids and try to go on a kid-free vacation or something like
Or
that.
even a simple, like, take the finances out of it. I remember the idea of, like, finding a babysitter in that season of
Yeah.
life that I would relax. It's like, it's not that
Hmm.
I didn't there weren't people that seemed trustworthy, but at the time, it's like, I just know myself, and I know the first time leaving them with this person or whatever, it was like, I'm not gonna enjoy this. Like, I'm just gonna be worried about what's happening at home. And so I just yeah, there's a lot of reasons why.
Like, those things are great and we love those things, but we want to recognize that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do kid-free date nights, or to go on a vacation, or to go on a kid-free vacation or something like that.
Yeah.
So we just want to address, like, what are ways that we can cultivate fun in simple, easy ways, and to
Just
just kind of
accessible
break,
ways.
yeah, easy, accessible ways that break up the mundane of life. And so that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Um,
So step number 1, put these thoughts and these feelings that you're having into words. And
mm,
so not this like, hey, this like obviously approach is important. And so not just accusing of, hey, we're not having any fun. Like this is, like letting the frustration boil up and then it comes out in this 11 p.m. you're exhausted argument. And it's like also nothing's fun anymore.
or
Maybe,
you're no fun
yeah,
anymore.
you're no fun anymore. I was gonna say, what's the accusation here?
Yeah,
Probably you.
you're
Um, but more of that, we talk about it, the soft startup of like, hey, I'm realizing that together as a team, like we're not cultivating as much intentionality as having like lightheartedness in our marriage. And so like how could we work together to try to do this in the season? Like what could that look like for
Yeah.
us?
Yeah, and I think that's important, of like, number 1, you need to put words to it, because
Mhm.
like, if you just kind of sit in the silence, or you just like hope something's going to change, like, it's unlikely to change. So you need to put words to it, number 1. But then also, the way you go about doing that is so important. And like Zan said, we've talked about soft startup all the time. And we've done previous episodes on the importance of it. And so when you bring that up, it is not a like, hey, you're no fun anymore. Like, why aren't you fun anymore? Like, that's obviously not going to lead to any resolution. But a soft startup is focusing on how you feel, your emotions, and the specific situation at hand. And so, like, how you would go about that in that situation of just, hey, I feel like we're so caught up in the day to day busyness of life, and I really miss the fun that we used to have. How can we cultivate fun together? Or what does that look like for you in this season of life?
Yeah.
And that is a productive way to start a conversation and to reach resolution, and to try to see good growth in that area. So it's like a both and of voicing that lack of voicing of like, hey, I feel like we're missing fun in our lives. And then number 2, the way you go about it, or A and B, the way you go about voicing it is just as important as voicing it in the first place, because that's going to determine whether you reach resolution, or whether you just create a bigger conflict argument.
Yeah, to me the key difference there is or the key asset and how you bring that up is the idea of it being a team effort.
Yeah.
Like it's you and me together, like we're working, this is a problem we're solving together. This isn't like a complaint or accusation I'm voicing on just you or,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So having just that feeling, I feel like there's just solidarity in that.
And not to, again, if you might be rolling your eyes, but I'm going to bring it up again. Zan and I cannot stress enough the importance of having a weekly marriage meeting. If you are listening to this semi regularly and you have heard us talk about it and you are still not having a weekly marriage meeting, I would encourage you to have one. And I know that there might be obstacles. Know that it may seem hard. I know that it may seem like, "Oh, I can't get my spouse on board." And I recognize the hardship of that, but just do what you can to pursue having a weekly marriage meeting. And the reason behind that is because there are naturally built in opportunities during that meeting to bring stuff like this up. Like maybe you're thinking of, oh, that's kind of hard. Like, when do I bring that up? I got to plan it. Do I bring it up after dinner time when they're happy or when we're cleaning together? Or, when do I bring this up? And it's hard to have that or to know when the best time to do that. If you have a weekly marriage meeting, there are naturally opportunities to bring this stuff up where it doesn't feel awkward or it doesn't feel out of the blue because it's like, hey, how can I serve you better? Hey, now that you mentioned that, I just feel like fun is lacking in our marriage. And I would really love I'd love us to try to cultivate fun together. That's such a natural way.
Yeah, I think it's just it can not that you're tiptoeing. A lot of people have healthy
Yeah.
communication, and you're not walking on eggshells of like, "Hey, I don't know how I'm gonna bring this up." But it's like, I know for us, sometimes we're not in that place where we're
Hmm.
walking on eggshells, but, like, you're trying to talk while having dinner and the kids are interrupting you every 5
Yeah.
seconds. Like, anytime you're trying to have a conversation that you wanna see to completion, it's hard to do if you don't have this intentional time, and so that's where the reason we do come back to it all the time at the weekly marriage meeting is like that is a time that you're setting apart. Like we're not advocating for you to have that while you're making dinner and the kids are around. We're advocating for you to make that time after the kids are asleep because you're going to consolidate all of these conversations that you could have distractedly throughout the week and maybe end up in a frustrated spot because you're not able to get a full sentence out. You're going to consolidate all those conversations to this intentional time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, have a weekly marriage meeting.
Yeah.
Number two.
Number two, I would say is if number one is voicing that, hey, you want to cultivate more fun. Number two is brainstorming together how to cultivate more fun in your marriage. And
In your
so
current season
in
of
your
life,
current season of life, given like, hey, we know the limitations, we know the hardships, whether that be financial strain, whether that be, kids and finding the time to do it. Like, what does each of us value? How do each of us feel loved? And so knowing those two things, how can we cultivate fun in our
I
marriage?
think it's what we value, how we feel loved, but I think it also we were kind of just casually chatting about this last night. Like it does what is considered fun will vary with the season.
Yeah.
Like when in strip away all of the logistics of life, like the things that I think are fun are like reading and painting and cooking and like enjoyable tasks to me in the season are not synonymous like with what I want to do to cultivate fun in our marriage because
Mhm.
ultimately like yeah, I love cooking and I love painting and stuff, but that would not be life-giving for us to do in our marriage because it's like I'm also tired and I want fewer messes and fewer
Yeah.
things to clean up and stuff. And so it's like
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it's not as simple as like what's fun to me and what's fun to you. Okay, well let's just do more of those things. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, right now, like what would serve the season of life in a way that also serves us and how we
Yeah.
yeah, what we enjoy.
And I think, like, for us, it might sound so simple and low key, but right now, like, even when Emery was born, she was really, really
That's our
good in the
oldest for
car. That's our
context.
oldest. She was great in the car. And so for us in that season of life, like, fun, not having much money, not having babysitter, all that kind of stuff, fun looked like putting Emery in the car and she would just be chill or fall asleep. And then we would drive around with the windows down. We would listen to peaceful music and we would talk. And that was
Yeah.
just like really, really fun and enjoyable. That's similar even now. Like Verity was a lot harder because she did not like her car seat. So
Mhm.
like fun in that season looked different. And we had to adapt because we couldn't do the same things because she absolutely hated her car seat for
Mhm.
like a 6 month stretch.
Yeah.
And it was awful anytime we had to drive anywhere.
Yeah, it
Um,
wasn't just like didn't love it. It was like
yeah.
actively made everyone's life miserable.
Yeah, and so with that, like, even though she hated the car, she didn't mind the stroller, and so, like, in that season of life, did we have a double stroller at that point?
Oh
Yeah, we
yeah.
had a double
Oh
stroller,
yeah.
and so I would get home from work, and we lived in North Carolina, and it was usually beautiful weather, and, like, we would
Just go for
almost
walks.
every single day go for walks, and we lived in a really walkable area or, like, go to a park and go for a walk, and so, like, that's what fun in that season looked like, of just those regularly family walks.
Yeah, I think it looked I mean, some people love watching a show together. That's not as
Yeah.
much our thing after bedtime because I feel like if
Yeah.
if we have time to watch a show, we wanna go to bed, like,
Mhm.
we're tired. But figuring out what it is for you that just, like, feels I mean, yes, a lot of it is gonna be with your kids awake, but also maybe what is that post-bedtime little bit of fun that you could
Yeah.
have? Like, I love a weekly, "Hey, let's catch up on all the funny things I've saved on my
Yeah.
Instagram reels." Like, to me, that's fun.
You do that, like, for 30 minutes, like, once every other week. You
Yeah.
just yep.
It's rare because obviously it's kinda just, like, brain rot,
Mhm.
but it's also, to me, more fun than watching a TV committing all that time to
Yeah,
watching a
to a
TV
TV show,
show.
yeah.
So,
And we do that together. I would say another thing too is, like, silly, playful touches, and it sounds like weird,
what
but
does that mean?
no, but I mean, like, you the other day when you, like, credit carded me or something like that,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
silly stuff like
Didn't I
that.
do that in public?
Yeah, you did. But, like, little
Sometimes my intrusive thoughts win.
yeah, but, like, little things like that, like, they're walking by and you hit their butt or, like, you put on music and you dance in the kitchen just for, like, 3 minutes, and these might sound cheesy, but those are, like, fun, lighthearted, silly ways to have connection, and they don't take a lot of time. Like, I even know for me, one thing I really value that I don't think I've really articulated even to you oftentimes is I'm realizing now how much more like I don't show love in this way the best, but I really appreciate physical touch. Like if I've had a hard day and you
Mm.
come up and give me a hug, or
Yeah,
it's
you
like
don't show love in that way.
I feel really stressed and you like give me a quick shoulder rub or something like that. It's like I really, really appreciate that. And I love like the playful times where you just like tickle my whatever, like
You
the
gotta
other
clarify.
side.
Tickle my whatever is weird.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm saying like my side, like you'll grab my
Sorry.
side and everything like that, or I don't
Hmm.
know.
This all
Just
sounds more cringe articulated in sentences.
okay.
I hear what you're saying, though. It was the when you tickle my and then paused.
You tickle my pickle.
Ew. But fun fact, my brother oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Somebody I knew when I was younger had, like, American Eagle boxers that said that.
You just said my brother,
I
and then
know.
you said someone I knew. Maybe I shouldn't say that, and you changed it to someone I knew, huh? I wonder who you're talking about.
Anyway, and they were like American Eagle used to make the most, like, phallic,
Mhm.
ridiculous type punny, boxers. Anyway,
Yeah. But,
on
like,
a different note,
I
what
would but
else?
yeah, no, I would just say, like, those playful touches, making a charcuterie board after the kids go to bed and just lighting a candle and talking, like, these are things that don't take up a lot of time, but then, like, really foster connection, little bits of fun,
Mm,
if you're watching a funny show or watching some reels together, it fosters laughter, and everything like that. So I guess my question to you is kinda off the cuff,
mm.
like, these are simple, easy ways to cultivate fun. Why do you think, even for us, using us, like, we probably don't do it enough? Like, why do you think people in general don't do these things enough?
Okay, I won't answer for people in general, but I will answer for
For
us
us,
because
yeah.
the thing that comes to my mind. Um, I mean, simply, I feel like in our current state of life, it's just life is so full and our days are so packed that I'm tired and that like the most fun thing to me sounds like going to bed. Like that sounds so, but I think that's just my reality is like
Yeah.
I occasionally I will be like, oh, I just want to like go do something or like just stay home and do something, whatever it is. But more often than not, I feel this is also I'm speaking to my personality. Like the most fun thing to me is a checked off to-do list and a good night's sleep. Like I love the feeling of got my workout, I've got all my work done, and now I'm going to bed. So
So we
I'm
just need
speaking
to,
to the
like,
boring achieving.
put these little fun things as a checklist for you to do for the day.
Honestly, I hate to admit it, but if I had a like challenge where it's like I'm going to do one fun like
There we go.
predetermined fun activity a day and you add that to my to-do list and I have to have that feeling of
Checking.
not doing it be the motivator. Yeah, that would be the way. But that is just like a me problem. I'm realizing that probably the rest of the world is not going to be
No,
relating
people
to that.
like a good checklist
Yeah, people
sometimes.
like a good checklist. I think
Yeah.
I'm just like deeply motivated by like productivity.
It's interesting. So you say that. For me, it's like in a weird way because it's not like I have this like fear of
Yeah, that was
rejection.
so Wisconsin.
No, I was just, like, it's not like I have this fear of rejection or anything like that, but it's almost this fear of if I initiate fun and that you're not in the mood or, like,
It's
don't
not on my
reciprocate.
checklist.
No, but, like, almost this fear that, "Oh, I'm gonna try this," and then you're not gonna reciprocate or you're not gonna be in the mood or something like that is almost what keeps me
That
from.
sounds like a sexual thing, but I get what you're saying. You're saying just, like, you're gonna try to be silly, and I'm not in a silly
Yeah,
mood.
exactly, like that kinda thing. Or if you're, like, you're already stressed and overwhelmed or, like, just overstimulated with the kids, and I
Mm.
try to, like, turn on a song to dance to, and you're just like, like,
Yeah. That sounds right.
"What is that noise?"
Our
Oh,
dishwasher?
our dishwasher.
I will say it sounded really loud in the
Yeah,
headphones.
yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know, that for me, I think, is what sometimes holds me back or doesn't allow me to initiate
Hmm.
as much as I would want to.
So you need to make sure you add it to my to-do list.
To-do list, there we go.
So I'm so energized by the idea of getting that
Of
dopamine
getting
hit
it
from
done.
checking it off.
But so then how would you answer that then? Of like, okay, speaking for us, knowing those 2 things are what drive us or prevent us from pursuing more fun in our marriage, like, if you were talking to us and giving
Okay.
us
Yeah.
recommendations, what would you
To
say?
me, it's not that I'm joking that the answer is to add it to my to-do list. I think there's an underlying thing there that I need to be uh more not accepting, that's not the right word, but like I need to not idolize productivity and to-do list to the point where I like people and relationships and these intangible, non-check offable things are more important. And I know that. And it's been a consistent thing in my life of like, I also don't want my relationship with the Lord to come down to check boxes. Like, yeah, sure, you can read scripture and you can worship, like you can make those all tasks that you check off, but that's not the beauty of the my relationship with the Lord. And so like I find myself often like fighting that urge and um yeah, in every area of life, fighting that urge to like only be motivated by that. But so yeah, I would say it's not actually to make it a challenge to have fun. Yeah, so for me, I think it would be I don't know. I mean, honestly, this sounds like a cop out answer, but I think what I would say to myself is praying for that, like praying for the desire to like just enjoy simple moments and
Mhm.
praying for that idol to be stripped from me of wanting to always be doing and always be prioritizing those things and just like being faithful to my marriage in that way. So, like, that would be my advice to myself.
Yeah, and I think for you also too of like, maybe it is thinking through like what are some ways that I can initiate fun and like pursuing those. It doesn't need to be like as in a checklist type of way, but
Yeah.
that's I think I would say that too. And then I think for me is I need to recognize number 1, like pursue things that Zan really enjoys and thinks that are fun. And so
What would those
it's
be?
it's not going to be like, okay, version of
Think
fun,
you
my
cleaning my
ideal.
kitchen is fun?
No, but so here, I'll get to that in a second, but, like, if my version of fun is sitting and watching a football game, like,
Mm.
obviously, it's not trying to get Zan to do my version of fun, and so it's, like, meeting in the middle of, like, if we both think reels are funny and we wanna take 10, 20 minutes together and watch the last week's worth of reels, go ahead and do that together, and laugh together and have that. Also knowing that, okay, if Zan, overstimulation makes it harder to have fun, what are ways that I can reduce those things? Or if it's harder for her to like just really relax and chill and spend good, fun time together is going to be like a messy kitchen or something like that. What are ways that I can take care of those
Oh, yeah,
so
I
that
have
you're
way
going to be
more
more
fun if
likely?
I'm in a clean house.
Yeah, and,
I'm
and
not
stuff
joking.
like that. And then the last thing I would say is like it's okay to like initiate and not have it be reciprocated. Like being okay with that and like being like, okay, like she's not in a fun, silly mood right now.
Yeah, I would say I do that to you sometimes when I can tell that you're in, like, a burnout, cranky mood from work. I'll do
Yeah.
that, and I'll just keep pushing until you crack.
Well, I'm not saying push until you crack. What I'm
Well, it
saying
works
is
for
like,
you. I don't think it would
yeah,
work for me.
yeah.
I don't think I have that personality. I would just get worse, but you, it
Yeah,
works.
and
I
that's
can
fair. But that you recognize each other's personalities. For me, it would be like, okay, So if she's not in a fun, silly mood right now, I don't need to push. I don't need to be upset. I don't need to feel rejected. It's like, okay, this can be something that we do later or tomorrow or whatever. And you don't have to feel almost like that personal rejection over it. So continue to initiate. Don't feel personally offended when
So
Dan isn't in
interesting
that
how
mood.
people are wired.
Yeah.
It
So
would
that's what I
just
would say
I
to
don't know that
us.
it would feel like a personal rejection to me. I'd just be like, "Well, they're
Yeah.
just a crank. They're just a crank."
So those are the first two. We got one last one really quick at
Me.
number 3. Yep.
Oh,
Because number 1 is voice that you desire more fun in your marriage. Number 2, talk about how you can initiate more fun in your marriage.
yeah, just
And
be
then,
honest with yourselves
yeah,
and with each other.
yep.
And then number 3, there are outside resources. I know, like, the Adventure Challenge is a
Hmm.
book where you, like,
Like
scratch it
the
off.
different date.
You've
Yeah.
probably gotten ads if you're anything like us. Um, I mean, you can talk to ChatGPT about some
Yeah.
ideas.
That's
There's
true.
literally you can search date night ideas. I feel like being in like, having a social media account that's in the marriage space, it targets us so often, which is, like, date night ideas. Like,
Yeah.
you could it's hard you'd have to hide under a rock to not see date night ideas. So, like,
Hmm.
granted, we have just said that you don't need a date night, but those a lot of times are just at home. So you can if you wanna have something like that, some kind of structure or just inspiration for having fun like that, or if you want, like, physical intimacy fun, there are what are you making that face?
I was just waiting to see where you're going with it.
Oh, well, you wrote it down, so I'm gonna talk about it. There are, like, apps. There's Intimately Us is one of them. Sorry, there.
Yeah.
Intimately Us is one of them on the App Store, and it's just, like, little gamified
Yeah.
bedroom challenges. I know the Adventure Challenge has, like,
As
a
the
in
book.
bed
Yeah.
shoot, I think.
Adventure Challenge in
In bed?
bed. Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Um,
But I would say too of like, yeah, don't be afraid to pursue outside resources because sometimes like if you and your spouse aren't like the most creative people, or even if it's like, oh my gosh, like you are creative, but you're so tired and exhausted and everything, and you don't want to try to come up, have the mental energy, like in a weird way of like, oh, my mental load feels so much. Like I don't want this to be like another thing that I'm trying to think about. Like pursue those outside resources and those can help you cultivate fun, whether they be like, like Zan was saying, like the date night book or in the bedroom, like that's another thing where people talk about like, oh man, we either do the same
yeah, it's a whole
thing,
'nother episode.
right? Like, it is a whole nother episode, but it's like we do the same thing. There's not like newness or excitement in the bedroom. It's like it's okay to bring in outside resources that help you cultivate newness and fun in those
I would
ways.
say just not to push back on that, but also just to offer the other perspective. It's like, I feel like for me at least, some of the most fun things just aren't that complicated. It's just gonna be simple things like, I don't know, going to the apple orchard on it's fall now, going to the
Yeah,
apple orchard together and stuff.
for
So, like,
sure.
also, I don't wanna you to hear this and be like, "Okay, we need to go buy a challenge and do all these things." Like,
No.
start with the simple stuff.
Yeah, start with the simple stuff, but and don't be afraid to utilize outside resources. I think
Yeah.
that's okay, and it doesn't need to be paid. Like Zan said, like the internet is your friend. Like
Yeah.
there are lots of ideas out there for free.
Oh, yeah, just like when you search on Instagram, like, toddler play activities, there are ample things, like, search fun marriage activities, fun date nights, fun
Yeah.
at-home date night, whatever, stuff like that. Like, yeah, there's plenty of resources to get you out of creative ruts or
Mhm.
whatever kind of rut. So,
All right, I'm gonna pull the Diary of a CEO because he always
okay.
explains it. He's like, "We have a closing tradition on this podcast where we
Oh,
have
I need the
the
accent.
guest ask." Oh, I can't do the accent. Where the guest asks a future guest one question.
Oh, interesting.
Here's the question that was left for you. So, doing that for our podcast, we have a closing tradition where we give a 1-degree shift of one little
Oh, I thought you were gonna
change.
pretend
No,
we
it's
had a
just
closing question.
no,
Okay.
no, no. Like we're one little change that you can make in your marriage that at least at the beginning, it doesn't feel like this massive grand change that is going to lead to explosive growth, but when followed over the long run that you continually pursue this, that gradually it's going to lead to incredible growth in your marriage over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So what are those little 1-degree shifts, those little 1-degree changes that you can make today and when you're consistent in them lead to great growth in the future. So for today, what is today's 1-degree shift?
You are going to have a sit down conversation with your spouse or a stand up, just a conversation with your spouse where you're going to ask, what could fun look like for us in this season? So, kind of just synthesizing everything that we've said from this whole episode down to one sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask what that would look like and then be honest with what you feel. And
how can we cultivate fun in this season?
Yes.
All right. That's all we got.
Catch you next week, 1 Degree fam.
Love you, 1 Degree fam.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of the 1 Degree Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And we'd be so appreciative if you take just a few seconds to leave a rating and a quick review. We love to hear your feedback, and those ratings really do help make it easier for others to find this podcast.
And if you want to continue this chat or share your takeaways, we'd love to hear from you. Head on over to our Instagram at the 1 Degree Podcast and leave a comment or send us a DM. We can't wait to hear from you. Catch you next week, 1 Degree fam.